Hello, in this video we're going to have a look at the very first quiz that we attempted, and it was an algebraic quiz, and there was a calculator section, and we're going to have a look at how you can use your calculator, your graphics display calculator, in order to solve each of these problems here. Now, because this is our very first calculator video, I'm going to go through a few things that you need to know before we get stuck into it. The first thing I'd like to say is that when you have calculator questions in a test or at the end of year in the exam, you need to be mindful about how many marks each of the questions is worth. If a question is worth 1 mark, you can pretty well much just use your calculator to solve it and write the answer down and you're good to go. But if it's worth more than 1 mark, then you should show some setting out or some working out steps. So for example, in this problem here, I'm going to show you how to expand this using your calculator. But if it was worth 2 marks and you only wrote the answer down, then you'd only get 1 out of 2 for that. You'd need to show that you can do this expansion step here. And if you had to do that, then your calculator would be more about, multiplying 17 by 4 because you weren't too sure what that was or you wanted to do it quickly, which is basically what a scientific calculator would do for you. Okay, but let's see how we can use our calculator to fully do this. It's still worthwhile doing even if your calculator doesn't, even if it's worth 2 marks or something like that, because it might be, if you've got time to do it, it might be worth checking answers to make sure they're correct. So you can see here I've got my calculator turned on, and this is what the home screen looks like. And I'm going to press 1 on my keypad here, or I can use my arrow keys to move my way over to where it says new, and then I'm going to press that. Now, if you've got a document already open somewhere, it might ask you to save what's already there. You just have to click on no, assuming you don't need to save it, which is almost always the case. Then you're prompted to say, well, what kind of thing do you want to add to this new document? And for what we're doing, just a calculator is all we need. And then you're good to go. Now, I should point out that there is a button over here called the scratch pad, which allows you to quickly create a calculator page or a graphs page. But our experience has been that there are some quirks to do with using scratch pad, which means it's a bit unreliable. So I personally always just create a new document rather than using the scratch pad. You'll feel free to do otherwise, but it may have an effect on your calculations. So this is your standard calculator page here, and all of the goodness is found under the menu button where there's a whole bunch of different operations you can apply based upon what you want to do. Now, we will explore most of these throughout the whole year, but I do encourage you to experiment with a whole bunch of them, learn about what it's capable of. You can do Google searches for tutorials on using this calculator so that you can use it to the maximum potential. Bottom line is, the more you learn how this calculator uses and what it can do, the faster you will be at it using it, the more efficient you'll be at it using it, and you'll be able to solve problems a lot more quickly than you could if you don't. Okay, having said all of that, I'm going to tell you where we're headed today. So I've pressed the menu button, and then all of the goodness for today is under number 3, the algebra menu. So you can hit menu, then you can hit 3 on your keypad, or use your arrow keys to get to 3. And because question 4 is expand and simplify, we are going to use the expand button here. And there you get expand bracket bracket. I should point out as well that you don't have to go through the menus. You can literally type in, I think it's slower, you can literally type in expand. And then a bracket, and it will get you to the same spot. Okay, so it's the same thing. Then I'm going to put in the equation. So notice that expand has brackets around the whole thing. This is the whole function. And then you have to put in more brackets for the expression you're about to type in. So we're going to go 8x plus 17, close bracket, open bracket, 4 minus x, close bracket. And then that sort of grayed out bracket there doesn't need to be filled in. The computer will do it for you, but you can also type it and then it will go dark like that. So there's inside my brackets here are 2 sets of brackets with my expansion. I press return and there's the output, minus 8x squared plus 15x plus 68, which is the solution here. Notice that it puts this thing here called a multiplication dot, I suppose, for a better word for it, but that'll do. So that just means multiplied by. So this is minus 8 multiplied by x squared, which we would normally write just as minus 8x squared. So I don't want to see you writing dots when you write it down. You just write it like it's in our usual way. Okay, excuse me, similar for this as well. So we'll just type it all in and it should simplify it. But you can notice that you could probably simplify this bit and, expand this bit and expand this bit as you go along. So algebra, expand, and then I'm going to go 12 outside of 3x minus 4 minus 2x minus 5 multiplied by 2x plus 5, close the brackets, press return, and there's the answer, which is the same as that answer there, thank goodness. Okay, these next two are solving ones. So to solve an equation, we're going to go to a similar place, menu, then algebra, but then what we're looking for is number 1 here, solve. So menu 3.1 will get me solve, which looks like that. And again, you can type that in as well. And there's a couple of key things that you need to remember when you're solving. Number 1 is you have to write the full equation in exactly as it's written there. I can see it's a fraction on the left, so I'm going to go control divided by to bring up my fraction straight away. And I can go 3x minus 1, and then I'm going to go down to 5, and then I'm going to go across to bring myself out of that fraction, then equals, and then we've got 2x. Now, what you have to do then is you have to put a comma in, which is found, I normally use my own keyboard, so I always forget where it is, down here, and then you have to put what variable you're solving for. I know it's pretty obvious, there is only one, it's x, but nevertheless, the graphics display calculator needs to know what it is. So we go comma x, close the bracket off, or just press return at this point, and it will give you the solution of x equals minus 1/7. And it's given it to me in exact form, which is great. If I needed to have an approximate form, which is sometimes what you need for graphing and stuff, if I go control enter, it'll give it to me again, but this time with a decimal answer. So that's approximately equal to that. There you go. Notice it says minus 1/7. We would normally write it as minus and then 1/7. These are equivalent. Minus 1/7 is the same as minus 1/7. Okay, if you want to, pause the video and try this one yourself on the GDC, and then come back to see whether you can do it properly. Alrighty, here we go. You either paused or you didn't. So up to the algebra menu again, up to solve, and I'm going to type in that expression there. So using my fraction button, 3x over 7 minus x over 14, using my arrow keys here, equals 1 comma x return, and you get 14/5, which is what you want. And again, you can use control enter if you need to have a decimal equivalent. If you want to go back and, like, if you, for example, accidentally type in 3x over 7 and it was supposed to be 2x over 7, you can go back and get that and edit it. So basically, I'll do it using the buttons here so you can see what I'm doing. I press up, that gets me to my answer. I press up, and that gets me to the problem I just solved. And then I press enter, and now that's editable. I can go back and fix it, so I can make that 2x minus 7. Press enter. I don't have to go to the end, just wherever it is fine. Press enter, and there's my new answer. And by the way, I'll just show you this as well so you can know what to do when you get this error. So if, say, for example, you forget to put the comma x in, which is really common, and press enter, you'll get this error here. Too few arguments. An argument is the things that the function is expecting. The functional command is missing one or more arguments. So it's expecting two things, the equation and the variable that it's solving for, and you only gave it one thing, the equation. So I'd go back, I would then put in the x, close the bracket or not, and there's my answer. Okay, last one is solving an equation simultaneously. So in order to solve this problem, we are going to go up to the menu, we're going to go to algebra, and then if we go down to number 7 here, you can see it says solve system of equations. And for the kind of equations we've been doing, we've just been solving linear equations. So I'm going to press number 2 for solve system of linear equations. It then says how many of those equations are there, because there could be 3 or 4 equations, but the default is 2, so that's fine. The variables are x, y. If the problem used a's and b's instead, you could certainly convert that to a's and b's. That's what I would do. Press tab, that'll get me to the OK, and press enter. There we go. It looks like this, lin solve, which means a linear equation solve. And there's a box up the top for you to write in the first equation, x minus 3y equals 1. Oops, that will cause a bit of an issue. X minus 3y equals 1. I can press the down arrow to get me to the next one. 2x plus y equals 9. So that's my second one. We can see over here it's saying I'm solving for x and y. So that's fine. Press enter and I get 4, 1. And you can see that the order in which it gives you the solution is the same as the order of the variables listed here. 4, 1, x equals 4, y equals 1, just like it says here. Okay, that's a fair bit in this video for you to process, so I'll leave it there, and good luck with your GDC.